I have everything you could ever ask for. 6-figure business, nice apartment, 4 pools, 5.1 surround sound, fast car, I travel constantly. I'm in charge of my life. But I'm not happy. What would happen if I got rid of all my possessions, got rid of my apartment and bills, got rid of my car, built a van to live out of, and traveled the country for a year? What would happen? Well, let me show you. Here's what I learned from living life at 70 miles an hour. It's so hot that I have to drive naked. You know, it took me about 9 months before I really began to see the benefits of what it was that I was doing. I was actually at a bachelor party in New Orleans with a bunch of Cutco friends. They really wanted to see the van because they had been hearing so much about it. And I love showing the van because I love seeing people's reactions. And there's always somebody who's like, oh, I've always wanted to do this. And sure enough, there was this guy, I think his name was James, you know, his eyes lit up. And he's like, oh my God, I respect you so much because I've always wanted to do this. And I just said, same here, that's why I did it. You know, and I've always wondered, if these people are so interested in doing something, why don't they just do it, you know? And the answer came when we were all hanging around the fire later, you know, all these successful guys at the bachelor party hanging around this campfire. And I was talking to James again about it, and he just kept asking me so many questions about the van, like he was seriously considering, you know, doing this. And so I just asked him, you know, if you really want to do this van life thing, what's stopping you? Why don't you just do it? And his answer blew me away. He said, I feel like I have to build something first. I feel like I have to achieve some amount of success or money before I deserve or allow myself to do something like that. And suddenly the whole veil lifted. I immediately saw all of the pieces of programming that we've downloaded as children. And I saw them being deleted from my mind one by one. Things like go to school, get a job, buy a house, go into debt, save, tithe, and invest, retire at 65, then enjoy your life. I've been told these things for 30 years. That's 30 years of programming deleted, erased from my mind in less than a year. So what exactly was I doing with this van thing? It wasn't just about traveling around anymore. I was beginning to see the tremendous benefits of this thing that I thought would just be something fun to do for a year. I had no idea what it actually meant. For my first 30 years on this planet, I was told that the only way to live life was to get a degree, get a job, buy a house, get married, have kids, go into debt, live below your means, save, tithe, and invest. Then 50 years later, I could finally retire and reap the rewards of my hard work.
So I followed the program perfectly. I got straight A's, trophies, awards, 3 scholarships, 2 degrees, magna cum laude. From an outside perspective, it would appear that I followed the rules to a T and I got what I'm told is supposed to make me happy. But even though I have all that, I still feel unfulfilled. I've committed the worst sin of all. I've become what everybody else told me to be rather than being me. And instead of complaining and feeling powerless or getting angry and playing the victim, I'm gonna actually do something about it.
Sitting around that campfire, I saw myself in these guys. At least the self that I used to be a year ago before I lived in the van. I used to be there. I used to be in that rat race, always needing more. It was never enough. And I saw how much I had changed since I started living in the van and how different I was and how much I had grown. And not just about money, my relationship to everything had changed. Yes, the van was a vehicle that I drove to destination freedom, but it wasn't freedom from, a job and bills and debt, stuff like that. It was freedom from the web of beliefs that had imprisoned my mind and kept me stuck in a system that I didn't even enjoy. Because just like these guys, I was told, I believed that that's the only way to live life. And that's the worst imprisonment of all.
For the first 6 or 7 years of your life, your brain worked overtime to map the world around you. This is when you learn everything you need to know about how the world works and how to survive in this world. Things like career, money, school, house, relationships, time. For these first years, you downloaded all the programs you need to survive. But living in a van, I witnessed my programs change. For example, in terms of career, you learn to get a job. But in the van, you have to get creative, start a business. And instead of being stuck to a lifestyle that requires bills and debt, low overhead means that you have more freedom and more savings for what you want to do. For something like school, instead of learning being confined to a classroom at a school, you learn from real-life experience every single day. And for a home, instead of being stuck to one spot, you're constantly traveling around. Your environment's changing all the time. Instead of being inside all day, you're constantly outside in nature. And of course, friends and family. Instead of the same old friends in the same city, you deepen your connection to your friends and family all over the country. You were taught that there's only one way to live life. And yet that's the biggest lie, because human creativity is limitless, meaning there are literally an infinite number of ways to live your life. You can make money in any number of ways or not make money at all. You can live in a house, an apartment, a hotel, a campsite, a van, an RV, on the street, or any combination of the above. You can live in any city, there's so many to choose from, or you can choose to not live in one place and travel around all the time. And once you get out of your shell, you can find community anywhere. You can do anything. You can be anybody. You can create anything for your life. Your life is a great work of art, and you are the artist.
I think conflict is innate in humanity. I think being human means to struggle every day. It's just in our nature. But the thing is, we don't have to hunt our own food anymore, and we don't have to flee from the saber-toothed tiger. We don't have to protect ourselves anymore. So, where did all that conflict go? Well, I think it went inside. I think our great conflict today is an inner conflict. It's a deep unhappiness. I think our crisis today is an existential one. What is our purpose now? Why do we exist now that we don't have to go hunt our own food? And there is no saber-toothed tiger to flee from anymore. Well, you know, the way our system works today is we work every day to keep the system going. And living in a van for a year, instead of being a human doing, it put me back into a human being. And I was able to just experience life, you know? So living life at 70 miles an hour to me was kind of like getting unplugged from the Matrix. All of a sudden I saw the code and I was unplugged and reprogrammed. And, you know, after living in a van for only a year, this traditional 9-to-5 lifestyle just seems like prison to me now. And it's really hard to go back to that.
Alexa, make a fuck sound. Done! Woo-wee!